All right, we now get to welcome in a new guest to the show. It's been a day of new guests today, so that's fantastic. We are now joined by Mike Ferry, and he's going to be here to tell us a little bit about 3 ways to improve your happiness and heart during the next timeout or halftime. So with that, welcome to the show, Mike.
Hey, Baxter, thanks so much. I'm happy to be here.
You're very welcome, Mike. So give us a little bit of background on who you are and what makes you qualified to talk about things here on the show.
Sure thing. Well, I'm actually a veteran middle school history teacher, and I'm a father of 4 kids and the author of a book titled Teaching Happiness and Innovation. And over the past few years, I've become very interested in the science of happiness.
Okay.
And how how happiness can impact our well-being and also our overall health. And I thought it'd be interesting since I am a sports fan, and I know that if we're watching a game, there's a timeout or a halftime always in our future, and what
at least one or two. Yep.
That's right. So what can we do during that time to try to boost our health and also maybe help out our happiness?
And that's a very interesting point that you make, because as most folks know, I mean, I'm definitely guilty of it too. It's like, a commercial comes on, or it's halftime. Everybody immediately either A, goes to the bathroom, or B, goes straight to their phone and is, doing something on social media instead of utilizing those couple of minutes to do something about it. And you seem like you've come up with a couple different ways to help us get off our butt, as it were, and get off the couch during those timeouts and halftime breaks.
Sure, absolutely. And, this is actually really important because heart disease is actually the number one killer of Americans, and many of us are concerned about that. But it turns out that happiness is one of the most interesting ways to improve our heart health, and our longevity, and our immune system.
Wow,
so,
that's interesting.
It's really amazing. We don't tend to think about it that way, but if we can become more positive, more optimistic people, then that has a huge impact on our whole lives. So
you're saying there's no hope for fans of like the Cleveland Browns or the Detroit Lions or the Chicago Bears then for happiness?
Well, I would say if you focus on improvement, maybe even from down to down or quarter to quarter, maybe not the overall record and your season win-loss record, but if you just focus on moment to moment, showing a little bit of improvement, then maybe that's okay.
That's fantastic, and I think that's a message that fans from most teams need to hear on a weekly, even down to down basis. Honestly.
That's right. And I'm actually a UNC Tar Heel fan.
Oh, okay.
And very excited right now. Of course, we just beat Duke and we got the number 1 seed in the ACC tournament. But from time to time, I always have to remind myself, big picture. This is only basketball. You have a life beyond what's going on the court right now. Although
True.
It's really hard to get that message sometimes.
It is, yep, exactly. And I think that's one thing sports fans lose focus of at times. So aside from focusing on the happiness of it, is there a couple different exercises or things that people can get up and do to help out at all? Or what different things can we focus on?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, gratitude is actually one of the things that tends to make us happier. And gratitude, recently, there's some studies that show gratitude specifically having a good impact on heart health.
Oh, wow.
People who are actually in the hospital suffering from heart-related issues, if they practice on showing gratitude every day for a period of weeks and months, they showed more improvement than didn't. So one thing we can do, of course, many of us are not naturally wired for gratitude. We might not think about it that much.
True.
But during a timeout, if you've got a minute or two, just get a Post-it note and write down one thing on that Post-it note that you're grateful for, and set up a gratitude somewhere in your house or your office, wherever you're watching or listening to the game. And if you do this timeout after timeout and day after day, week after week, you leave it up there, then after a while you'll see, not just one or two things, but maybe a few dozen things you're grateful for, and that'll start to improve your gratitude level, your happiness, and your overall health.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely one of them. I feel like gratitude is something that our society needs a lot more of, because so many people feel like they're entitled to things. It's like, well, I obviously deserve this because I've done this. It's like, no, just be grateful for some of the things you have, and show a little respect at times as well.
Sure, and it's easy. This is something that doesn't cost anything other than the cost of a Post-it note and a pencil.
Exactly.
And it does make a big difference.
Agreed. Absolutely. So gratitude. As we're making our list, we've got gratitude. What other things can we do?
Okay. Well, the second thing is kindness. And the more time we spend being kind or showing compassion towards others, then the happier and the healthier we are. So during a timeout, you mentioned earlier that many of us grab our phones. Well, it's okay. Grab your phone. But instead of, just doodling around, send a kind text or an email or maybe a message on social media to someone you haven't talked to in a while. And, just go on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever, just send out something. Hey, I'm thinking about you. Just want you to know, I'm watching the Carolina game, and I remember years ago how we always loved talking about the Duke rivalry or whatever, and I miss you. Hope to see you soon. Something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Those go a long way.
And it can go a long way. And like I said, when we show kindness for others, it makes us happier and healthier, and also it can improve the quality of our friendships, especially with those we haven't talked to in a while. And that's a big part of our overall happiness.
That is great, yeah. So as we're chatting here with Mike Ferry on the BG Sports Show, he's giving us 3 ways to improve your happiness and heart during the next timeout or halftime. So we've already talked about gratitude, we've talked about kindness, and now our third and final one would be what, Mike?
That's right. So the third one is creativity. And like with gratitude and kindness, the more time we spend being creative, the happier and healthier we're likely to be. So one thing you can do is a free association exercise where you take 5 words and you try to put them together in a little short story, maybe 1 or 2 sentences. And it doesn't have to be written down. It can just be something you think about, or, again, with your phone, maybe you record a voice memo and you play it back and you see if it makes sense. But just to give you an example, I'm going to pick 5 words here. And what you try to do is you put them together in a little short story. Okay? So I've got stapler, orange, George Washington, Seattle, and water buffalo.
Oh my goodness!
Completely random. Pretty crazy. All right. I'll say it again: stapler, orange, George Washington, Seattle, and water buffalo. So. Would you like to give it a shot?
I would. And you said all it is just making a little, just a short story about it?
Right. It's just 1 or 2 sentences. You don't have to write it down. It could be completely crazy. And in fact, the crazier, the better.
Okay. So let's see here. Wow. One day I was driving to Seattle and found a water buffalo on the side of the road that slightly resembled George Washington. And after taking a picture with him, I continued on my drive and found an orange cart on the side of the road. And the man also asked me if I wanted to buy a stapler as well. It was included in the orange price, and I thought it was a pretty good day.
Very well done.
Okay,
thank
you.
Now, did that make any kind of a change in your brain? Did you feel more awake, more alive, a little more energized right now because of that?
I did, yes. I definitely feel a little bit more alert, because as soon as you asked, would you like to go, I was like, sure. And my brain kicked in, and I was like, all right, let's be creative about this. What can we do? And yeah, that was actually very interesting. And I'm actually a little upset that I didn't do I had a much better story in my head that I couldn't somehow get the words out to. But that works out though. That's interesting.
No, that's perfectly fine. And actually, the more you practice, the better you get.
True.
And if your listeners want some more ideas, I've got a bunch of them on my website at happinessandinnovation.com. Happinessandinnovation.com. And if you go to my blog, there's a recent post. 10 ways to boost your creativity, and I've got 10 of these little free association exercises, and that's 10 timeouts right there.
That is
already done for you.
And depending on if you're watching an NBA basketball game, you probably get 10 timeouts in the last 5 minutes if it's a close game. So that's plenty of time for you.
Exactly, and with conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament, you got all kinds of opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic. Well, Mike, we got to let you run, but you'll be back again on Thursday, right?
Yes, that's correct.
That's right, yes. Mike Ferry will be back on the program on Thursday. He'll be chatting a little bit about how parents can use sports to teach happiness to their kids. So I'm really excited to talk to you again on Thursday about that, Mike. So thank you so much for taking the time today. And real quick again, where can they find your website, and then if you're on social media as well?
Sure. So the website is happinessandinnovation.com, and you can connect with me on Twitter at Mike Ferry7. That's the number 7, Mike Ferry 7.
Fantastic. Mike Ferry, a pleasure, sir, and we look forward to having you back again on Thursday. Thanks for taking some time today.
Absolutely, Baxter. Thank you. That's fun.
You're very welcome.